Yeah. Good evening once again.
Very first, I would like you all to refer to this chapter 1, unit 2.
The review questions at the end of this chapter. I would like to tick mark the ones
I would like you all to go through and
be ready for some kind of test in the near future. Often, when I discuss a particular exercise, you assume that I would be taking a test 1 week from that date. That means, uh, considering today is Thursday, by next Thursday, I would like to take a test on these questions. I'm sharing with you the questions that we have. You can go through the questions that we have done. You accordingly mark them, please.
This question in the review question A, name two types of Java program, that is A1. You could do, not the A2.
This question B, D.
So,
So please hold for a moment.
Somebody was asking me a question. Please excuse me.
For the interruption. Yes, please. Hello, come in. Somebody wanted to ask me something. You wanted the answers.
Well, I've already shared this chapter with you in a PDF form, and the answers are there itself, as you see in the PDF file at the end of this chapter.
So, frankly, I did not understand your question. Are you referring to something else that you want? I continue my mark. What is the role of keyword void in declaring? No, not this one. Then this question, the H1, I,
And J.
So from this particular page, I've marked the questions. I hope you also made a note of it. Okay. I'm not asking you to open this file now and now itself and put these markings, but at the moment, what you do is make a note of these in your notebook. Quickly, I'll share them. It is A1, D, H, I,
and J.
Moving to the next page.
On this next page, you have the exercise, and you have to attempt these questions also.
This exercise is for the next session, that is Saturday. The questions that you have to attend are 1, A1, 2, 3, 5, then from the fill in the blanks, 1, 3, 4. Okay, these answers you have to attempt. Then I would be giving the answers to you. So first you have to attempt them. So this is like an exercise for you. You have to go through the notes, and that is this chapter, this PDF file itself, and attempt them. From answer the following, the first one, the second one, the seventh one, distinguish between A, 8A, 10th one, 11th one, 15, well, these are the questions. Have a look again at on this particular page, the ones from the top. True or false, 1, 2, 3, and 5, except 4. Fill in the blanks 1, 3, 4, and 5. Answer the following 1, 2, 7, 8A, 10, 11, 15. So, well, these are all the questions you have to attend. The ones which we have not marked, you are not going to attend them because we have not covered them yet. We have not taught you those concepts, or we have not done those concepts officially in detail. Friends, chapter 2 is completely theoretical based on the concept of classes and objects. We are not discussing this chapter now. We are moving to chapter 3. We will be starting with chapter 3 today. Have all of you marked these questions, please? Do you have any query on this, any of these questions, or anything else regarding this exercise? Please answer me in the chat box. Gargi, is your query resolved?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We are referring to chapter 3. That's what we are starting with today. We have very much completed chapter 2. We have very much completed unit 1, chapter 1, unit 2, please. I mistakenly said chapter 2. No.
So can you send this PDF?
Pardon, please.
Can you send this PDF?
I've been sharing this PDF through my email to you all. I've been every day at the end of the session, I've been sending the email to you, and I've been sending this PDF. You mean with the markings, or without? You know, the PDF that I've sent to you earlier is without the markings. Only thing is today I've added these markings. Are you referring to the markings, or you're referring to this chapter in general?
Third chapter. For the third chapter, have you given the notes?
No.
For this chapter, you have given this PDF.
Unit 1, chapter 1, unit 2, I've sent that file to you. I'll be sending today
Yeah, through
chapter
chat
3.
box.
Chapter 3. I'll be sending that to you. And at the end of the session in the email, I'll be sending it to you. You want it now itself or by the end of the session? You don't, I don't want you to
I know, I
distract
was
yourself.
just.
Yeah, you can concentrate on my screen and you're going to get this chapter soon. Okay, don't worry. Values and data types. Okay, this chapter, the concepts that you're going to learn in this chapter are very basic and very essential. We are starting a discussion on what is a language, what is a computer language, or what is a language in general. Language is a medium of communication. People can share their views with each other if they know a common language, just as we are communicating with each other in the common language English. Hence, language plays role in communicating our thoughts and ideas. So people can communicate with each other, they can convey their thoughts to each other and their ideas. Like at the moment, my knowledge of Java, I'm sharing with you. And I'm able to share my knowledge with you because of a common language that both of us know, that is English. Similarly, in order to communicate with a computer, we have to communicate with it in a language that the computer understands. Java is a computer language that is used to communicate with the computer. It uses character sets similar to alphabets of general languages. Character sets is a topic that we're going to do soon now. It is combination of all the characters that could be used in a Java program is called as a character set. This topic is not very complicated. It's a very simple and a basic topic. All the keys that you use from your keyboard to type your program, all the characters that you type in a Java program make the Java character set. I repeat, it uses character sets similar to alphabets of general languages. The character sets used in Java are as shown below. Character sets in Java. We use letters in Java in a Java program. Letters means alphabets. We have the description of character set over here below the diagram. The different character sets are explained as under. The different characters are explained as under. Letters. All letters of English alphabet, capital A to Z and small a to Z, can be used in a Java program. Besides this, we can use digits in a Java program.
मैंने खुजली की ना, मैं तो हाथ में शायद दवाई लगी। तो हाथ का फिर दिमाग से कुछ किया था हाथ का।
We can use digits in a Java program. Digits 0 to 9 can be used. Besides this, we can use special symbols. We call them as operators. Operators in Java are classified in 3 categories. Arithmetic operators used for arithmetic operations like plus, minus, the star symbol, asterisk symbol, it is also called as, the name of the symbol is asterisk, for multiplication, division, percentage. These are arithmetic operators. If you're not familiar with some of these symbols, don't worry, we'll be learning them soon. Besides this, some other operators we can use in a Java program are logical operators. Amongst logical operators, we use this symbol ampersand twice, which represents AND. It's called the AND operator. Then this symbol, the vertical line, we call it pipe symbol. Giving it twice is called the OR operator. And the exclamation mark is the NOT operator. These 3 operators are logical operators. I'm not teaching you logical operators as of now, so don't worry much about them. Just have a casual look at them. Even if you are not familiar with the symbols, don't worry. When we actually come to the stage of teaching you these operators, we're going to make you familiar with the characters also, the symbols also. Relational operators like the less than symbol, less than equal to, greater than equal to. You have a relational operator double equal to and the not equal to operator. These are relational operators. Again, we'll be learning about relational operators in the due course. We'll be amongst these operators, we'll be first learning arithmetic operators, then relational operators, and then logical operators. That would be our sequence. At the moment, your curiosity of arithmetic operators could be normal because we're going to soon do them. But logical and relational operators would be done a bit further. So don't worry about them now at all. I repeat, special characters from your keyboard like plus, minus, star, asterisk symbol, these are arithmetic operators. Okay, ampersand symbol is a logical operator. Symbols like less than equal to, greater than equal to, etc. are relational operators. Besides this, we also use delimiters. We use some other characters also in our program, in a Java program. These are called delimiters. Symbols like comma, semicolon, which we give at the end of the statement. Okay, we do use comma, we use colon within our program, the question mark symbol, the dot symbol like system.out.println, round brackets, curly braces, square brackets, all these symbols, all these special characters are called delimiters. These are all the characters that go into a Java program, and so collectively this topic is called as the character set. Let me open my Java program. I'm connecting to BlueJ. Okay, BlueJ I've already started BlueJ project. Go to the project menu, open the project. I've selected the sample project, it's open. I'm double clicking on my program, My Welcome. Friends, very first thing that I would like to do today is casually, I'm just deleting these comments. Okay, since we have already taught you this concept of comments, I am simply deleting them. I remind you in last to last session, I've also made a text file out of this and shared these messages with you. So I'm deleting them from this program. I've just selected them and pressed the delete key to remove them. I have a few comments, 2 lines of comments at the top of my program and one more comment over here, which I've selected the statement, the comment statement. Okay. Now, if you look at, let's try to relate the concept of character set that we learned. I'm repeating the character set. We use alphabets in our program, so you see lots of words with alphabets in lowercase and even alphabets in uppercase being used in my program. Okay, so I'm pointing out to some uppercase characters also. Lowercase, lots of lowercase characters, alphabets are all over my Java program. So we can use alphabets, capital A to Z, small a to Z. We can use digits in our Java program. Okay. In this program of ours, we don't see any digits, but you would find digits, you would find numbers in some other program. So you're allowed to use them. Operators. Now we are not doing any kind of arithmetic operation in this program, so we don't find arithmetic operators or even logical or relational operators in this program, but soon we'll be doing programs where we're going to use them. Yeah, delimiters. We do find delimiters in this program, the curly braces, the round brackets, the square brackets. The dot operator is also a delimiter, semicolon, and there are other delimiters also used in a Java program. So over here in our textbook on this page at page 40, we have, the author has given us all the characters that could be used in a Java program. Let's move on to the next concept. The next topic, Unicode, appearing on page 41, and below that ASCII character set, ASCII codes. We'll be doing them later on. The concept of sequence, escape sequence also we shall do later. Let us come to the topic of tokens. Friends, some time back I shared with you what are the various characters that we can use in a Java program. We can use alphabets. Now, by using some English alphabets, we have constructed this word public. And by using some other alphabets, we use the word class, made the word class. By using some more alphabets, I've given the name to my class, my welcome. All these words that you see, using characters, the words that we construct, collectively, all the words used in a Java program are called tokens. I repeat, collectively, all the words that you would find in a Java program are called tokens. After all, tokens are made out of characters only. I repeat, tokens are made out of characters that we just learned, the character set, from the character set.
So can you please off your video, as I'm not able to hear you.
Just give me one option. Yeah, please see for some more moments. How could you hear me? Okay, am I audible? Is the sound better now? Anika, was that Anika? Can you hear me clearly now?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Just wait. What about others? Am I audible to others? Clearly audible to others?
Yes, sir.
Just give me a moment. Okay, so tokens are collectively referring to all the words that we use in our Java program are called as tokens, and here are the various tokens that we can use in a Java program. I'll come back to this diagram at some later point of time. As you see, if I just browse through the nodes, the very first type of token, literals, is being discussed. That's what I'm going to discuss with you now. Then identifiers are being discussed, the next type of tokens. Literals, all sorts of values that you're going to use in a Java program. I repeat, all kind of values that you're going to use in a Java program, various types of values that you're going to learn. We're going to learn them one by one. Integer values, real literals, character literals, string literals, Boolean literals, and null literals. let me start demonstrating this to you in a particular program. It would be better for you to understand it that way. Now friends, we have moved to chapter 3 and please see what I'm doing practically. Okay, have a careful look. I'm closing this window, my program, my welcome, and I'm closing my project. This project is, the name of this project is sample. This was in chapter 1, unit 2. Okay, that means all the programs in chapter 1, unit 2 are kept inside this project sample. Project, new project. I'm creating a new project. So today, once again, we are creating a new project. New project. I'm giving a name to the project as chapter 3. This project, we would like to keep it inside D drive, inside my folder BlueJ. Okay, this name is the name of a new project that we are creating inside D drive, the folder BlueJ. Okay. And when you create a new project, this is the screen that you get with this file. I click on new class. This is the first program we want to create in this project, giving the class name as littles is the name I'm giving to the class. This name is given by myself. This name is not a word or it is not a token given to me by Java language. Yes, it is a token made by me. Yes, it is a token, but this token is made by myself. The name to this class is being given by myself, my wish. Click on OK. Ensure that the class is selected over here. Click on OK. An empty class is created. Double click on it. Normally, any class that you make, a new class you make, you find some coding within it from BlueJ itself. I can select all the lines and press the delete key to delete those lines and start writing the code myself. Public class literals. Pair of braces. Within the class, I'm going to define a function, public static void main function. This is called string args. Open the curly braces on the same line or the next line. System.out.println. Now the value 10 that I've written is without a decimal point. I'm putting a comment after that for your reference. It is an integer literal. You can call it as integer, simply integer, or to be precise, to give the complete name, you can call it as integer value or integer literal. Okay, remember, I put a comment at the top. Values are called literals. Well, let me tell you, these values or literals have another name. We also call them as constants. I repeat, values are also called as constants, also called as literals. Now the value 10 is without a decimal point. It's called an integer value, an integer literal. Next statement, system.out.println. Yeah, well, just before I write that statement, let me share with you a little bit more about integer literals. They can be positive values. Okay, they can be positive. They could be negative. It could be a zero also. So I repeat, integer literals can be positive, negative, zero, but these values should be without the decimal point. Next, I'm writing a value minus 25.75. This is called a floating point constant or a floating point literal. I repeat, we can call it floating point literal, floating point value, floating point constant. Again, these can be positive values, negative values, or zero. System.out.println. I'm typing, I could type any alphabet from my keyboard and put it in single quotes. I'm typing the alphabet capital A, or it could be any alphabet or any digit also, or any special character also. I repeat, any character from your keyboard. Remind you, any character from the character set that we discussed. You can, but it should be only one character, and it is necessary that you enclose it in single quotes. This kind of constant is called as character constant or a character literal. I repeat, it could be any character from the character set. Alphabet capital A to Z, alphabet small a to Z, digits 0 to 9, special characters, operators, any of the operator symbols, any of the delimiters, but it should be a single character only and it should be enclosed in single quotes. System.out.println. And the last example, in this next example, sorry, I'm writing in print function brackets in double quotes, I'm writing a literal the other comma Mumbai -4000028 full stop in double quotes. Okay, I end it with double quotes, end the function print ln with brackets and put a semicolon. This literal that we have created now, put inside the println function for printing, is called as string constant, string value, or a string literal. String constants or string literals, it is a set of characters. The characters could be any of the character from the character set, any number of characters also. It could be of any length, but the only condition is you have to enclose it in double quotes. So character constant is single character, it should be enclosed in single quotes, and string constant is a set of characters and it should be enclosed in the double quotes. The next type of constant or value I'm sharing with you is a Boolean value. Boolean values are only true or false. There's no third Boolean value. These are called Boolean literals. And there is one more type of literal which would be used by us a bit rarely, and that is null. Now, null literal means no value. Yes, no value. in Java is called as a null literal. Now, when I said no value, you would think that if there's no value, then might as well we write 0. Why do we write null? Let me tell you, 0 when you write, you're not writing a null value, you're actually writing an integer literal. I repeat, when you write 0, it was not going to be treated as a null literal, it would be treated as an integer literal. So they are different. I want to end the function, close curly braces for the end of the function. And now here I want to end my class. Again, closing curly braces for the end of the class. So this program, I've given a brief introduction to literals in Java. Compile my program. I'd like to make a small correction. This null literal is written as \0. We'll also check up with null. Click on compile, close, select your program, right click on it and select void main. That means you want to execute the main function. Click on OK over here. Please have a look. The first print system.out.println shows the integer value 10. The second one, the floating value. The third one, the character constant. But in the output, it is appearing without the single quotes. Within the program, the programmer has to put it in single quotes. String is appearing on the next line, but without the double quotes. That the programmer has to enclose it in the program in double quotes. Next, the Boolean value, and finally the null value blank. You don't see anything over there. That's called as null. Null values, very frankly, wouldn't be used by us, just for the sake of formality of covering up all the literals. We are speaking about them. Even Boolean values like true or false, Boolean values, we are not going to use them widely. Let me tell you, as the course progresses, the first type of literal we'll be using extensively are integer, then we'll progress to floating point, then character, and then strings. This would be the order in which we'll be learning them and using them, working with them. Yes, Mehak, your query, please. Comment.
So why do we use character literal? You can just use
Yes,
string
you can unmute yourself and tell me your query, or you can type it in the chat box.
So why do you have to use character literal? You can also use string
Yeah,
literal.
Mehak, comment please.
So
Before Mehak puts her query, let me continue. True, the Boolean value true, though we have written a word true, in a program, you're not going to put it in double quotes. It's not a string value. Yes, you can ask your query, Anika. Mehak, your query. Okay, I'm waiting for your query. Please be quick.
Mehak was telling that why there is need to use the character string. Character.
Anika, Mehak, your query, please, in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask me a query.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, your question, Mehak, is why should we use character literals when we have string literals? We could very well use string literals. Why take the trouble of using character literals? Yes, coming to it. Coming to that discussion. Okay. What about you, Anika? What is your query? Yes, I would agree with you. Why do we need character constants when we have string constants? Okay. I would only say that it is, it uses less storage. That means when you are storing the character A, single character A, and you defining it as a character constant rather than a string. Okay. Let me give one more example. System.out. Println, in double quotes I write Z. Now, as you see over here, in double quotes I put a single character only. But when I've enclosed it in double quotes, what I'm using is not a character constant. I'm using a string constant. I repeat, I'm not using a character literal. I've not defined a character literal. I've defined a string literal. And it would the amount of memory it would occupy. Okay, the amount of storage it would occupy. In case of character constant, it will be less, and in case of string, it would be more. Even though they are storing one character only, okay, the character constant will take less storage in the memory, whereas the string would take more storage. So it's just about that, the amount of memory that it would take. So actually, in this case, I would say that practically when you wanted to store only one character, it would have been more efficient, memory efficient, if you would have put it in single quotes rather than double quotes. Just that. Yes, I agree that Z, if I was sure that I wanted to keep only one character in that string, so it would, one character, then instead of making it as a string, I could have defined it as a character function. It would have been more memory efficient. It would have occupied less storage, less memory in the computer. Have I made myself clear to you, please? So I'll just keep this example as a string. Okay. Here I intend to, I'm not saying what is efficient, more efficient or less, but I'm trying to tell you that even a single character in double quotes is a string literal. Yeah, I've clarified myself. Okay, there's not a very big difference. So I hope you did not expect too much from my answer over here. It's just about the memory that it would take. In this last statement, I'll just write over there system.out.println. I'll just write null over there. Just checking up. We're getting an error over there. Compile. When I click on compile, okay, as you see, we're getting an error on that statement where we have written null. So you're not going to write the word null. Okay, it has to be written like this: backslash and a 0, backslash symbol and 0. Now just take care of the slash. Just next to that where I put the comment. If you look at the slash that I've written over there are forward slash. Okay, we call them as forward slash, and those are the ones we use for comments. Whereas over here, the slash that I've used, please see, is a backslash. We have put it like backslash 0.
Have you been able to identify the difference between the two slash, please? And you have to take care of it, not make mistake over there.
In comments, I repeat, we use 2 forward slash. Now, why do we call it as forward slash? Because the slash symbol, the symbol is falling forward. You know, it is bending towards the forward. It's bending forward, and that's why it's called forward slash. Whereas this backslash is bending backward, so it's called backslash. Compiling my program, close, and right click and execute the main function. Executing my program. I'm executing it again. It was taking some more. It was, yeah, here's the output. Earlier it was taking some time. So my integer value, float value, character constant. The next, the letter Z is a string constant, though it contains only one character. Then another string. Then we have the Boolean value and then the null value. Now in my program, I want to share some suggestion for you. So in the comments, besides the comment integral value, I would share some integer values with you. So when you're practicing, when you practice, you try out these values also, like -100, comma, the one value 10 that you see, 0, or let me give an integer value, it's quite big. So I'm giving the integer value as 30,000. Floating point literals. So I'll put a positive value there. I'll write a positive value as an example, 987.65. Or I would also, I'll write an example of a huge value also, 2,50,000. Character littles, it could be any character but a single character only. So in single quotes, I'll put a alphabet E in lowercase. That's also a character constant. It could be a digit also. So I put a digit 7 in it. It could even contain a special character, but at all times there should be only one character in it. It should only comprise of one character. So please see deliberately over here, I'm typing ABC in this example. Compile, close, and executing it. Now, if you see, we hurriedly just closed it, but actually we're getting an error over there. I repeat, when I click on compile, I'm getting an error over there. And the reason I'm getting an error is because character constant can only contain one single character. So here I've given 3 characters ABC. If it was a string, it was valid, but not as a character constant. So I've conveyed that message to you. So allow me over here, among the examples, I'll write, among the examples of character constant, I'll also write this ABC. So do practice that also and see that error, see the error, and remind yourself that it should be only one character. String littles, okay, it could be a set of characters, it could comprise of any character from the character set, alphabets, uppercase, lowercase, that means capital or small, special characters, digits, anything. So I'm not typing more examples of string littles. We'll find them in a book. Boolean values are true or false. So the other value false I'm writing. And finally the null little, the null value. The null value, that's the only way of writing it. There's no other null value. It's only one value that is, and the example for that is given to you. Compiling it, closing it, select my class and click on void main to execute it. So we have the output there. We have given you a brief introduction to literals. I repeat, values in Java are called literals. They're also called as constants. So this is the first type of token. The first type of token we have learned in Java, that is literals. Let's refer to our notes. Let us look at the definition of literals. Literals are constants in a Java program. When you write a program in Java, you may come across some quantities, some values which remain fixed. That is, they do not change throughout the execution of the program. Such quantities are termed as literals or constants, or as I said in simple terms, values. Now friends, over here in the explanation, using the message, when you write in a program in Java, you may come across some quantities which remain fixed. I'm sure you would like to have some more insight on this, but give me some time. At a particular appropriate stage, I'll make you understand the meaning. What does this sentence mean? What do we mean by the values are fixed? They do not change. I will surely make you understand this. When I teach the topic of loops at a particular point, I get a good opportunity to make students understand what is a constant, what is a literal, that is constant, literal, they are same, and what is a variable. Variable is the next topic that we're going to learn. So that's a very good place where I can properly convey to you what is a variable. No doubt that variables we're going to learn soon. As of now, accept the explanation that we have shared with you. Literals are values. You understand values very well, but you would be too keen to understand why it's called constant. You see, constant, the meaning of the word constant in English is fixed, that does not change. Java uses the literals classified in the following ways. Integer literals, these are numbers which are represented without the decimal point. These are whole numbers having positive or negative values. These are some examples of integers. Okay, zero is also an integer literal. There are real literals. These are also called floating point constants. They represent numbers with decimal point. And here are some examples: 24.6, 0.0072, minus 3.652, and there is one more value over here, I 1.0 E minus 03. This value that you're seeing is also a floating point constant. It's written in a different way. We call this as scientific format. I'll explain this to you in a short while. Once I cover this discussion on the others, I'll come back to the scientific format and teach you what is scientific format. Character literals, the constants which are alphanumeric in nature are called character literals. All alphabets, uppercase or lowercase, digits 0 to 9, special characters can be termed as character literals. In the examples, you see capital A that we have written, the letter D that we have written in lowercase, the digit 3, asterisks. These are examples of character constants. A character literal represents a single character and it should be always enclosed in single quotes. String literal. String is a set of alphanumeric characters. Alphanumeric means alphabets and numbers. Okay, alphanumeric phrase means combination of alphabets, numbers, and special characters also. Even spaces are allowed. A group of characters enclosed within a pair of opening and closing double quotes is known as a string literal. Example, the word computer, year, space 2016, 10 percentage, 10% space per annum, 10% per annum. So we have digits, we have special characters, we have alphabets in it. These are examples of a few literals over here. Coming back to our program, one more thing I would like to share with you about literal, string literal. Now, as far as character literal is concerned, we learned that it should be in single quotes. String literal, okay, this example of Dadar Mumbai 28, instead of double quotes, I'm putting it in single quotes. Please see. Is that valid? I'm getting these red marks below the single quotes and double quotes. Okay, reminding me that I've not written my string properly. Because if I put single quotes, I should be enclosing only one character in it. But here I have enclosed, I put many characters, so it's necessary for me to not put it in single quotes, but to put it in double quotes because it's a string. So we just saw this error. Boolean literals, constants. Boolean constants are special literals. They represent true or false and can be used in Java program to check whether a given logical condition is satisfied or not. You must note that Boolean constants, true or false, are never enclosed within the double quotes. Okay, there is some explanation in the second line. They represent true or false and can be used in Java program to check whether a given logical condition is satisfied or not. Okay, don't get involved in that explanation. Just remember Boolean values are true or false. They should not be put in double quotes. So the Boolean value true, please see, I'm putting it in double quotes. Now when I put it in double quotes, we are not getting any errors as such over there on that statement. If I compile my program and execute it, I'll see the word true. I'll not get any error. But at the moment in this output, the true that I'm seeing is a string constant and not a Boolean value. It is a string value because I put it in double quotes and it's not a Boolean value. Yes. Okay, it's appearing the same. One would not looking at the output, one would not understand whether it's a string or a Boolean value. But actually, by my simply enclosing it in double quotes, the mistake that I did by putting it in double quotes, I made it a string and it's no longer a Boolean value. So we have to take care of this. The null character, please see, is also enclosed in single quotes. \0, the null character is also enclosed in single quotes, not in double quotes. This was an introduction to literals. The last literal, the null one. This is another special purpose literal. It is represented as \0. It is used in a Java program as a string terminator to mark the end of the string. Now we're not going involving ourselves into the second and the third line. Just remember what is null as of now. It is \0. Now finally, when we were discussing about floating point constant, we saw one value over there, and I'm going to now teach you about that particular value, what it is, and what does it mean. I'm using my notepad and typing some text. I'm going to type something regarding this topic. One E3. I've written one E3 over there. let me tell you this 1E3 that I've written is a number, is a numeric value, is a number which, it's a number which we all are familiar with, but we can't, we wish to know what this number is about, what this number is. You'll be surprised that this value that I've written is actually the value 1000. Yes, this is value 1000. The meaning of that 1E3 is 1000. How come? Now first let me tell you, this 1E3 that we have written could also be written as 1, after that E in lowercase, and then 3, or it could also be written as 1E plus 3. All these ways of writing that value is correct. This format of writing a value is called as scientific format, or also called as scientific notation. Whereas this value 1000 that I've written, which actually that 1E3 represents, this value, typing it like this, is called as floating point format. Yes, this is floating point format and this is scientific format. Now, how do we arrive at 1000? How did we arrive at 1000? Yes, I'll teach you the meaning of this 1E3. One E3 means 1, okay, this value 1 as it is, multiplied by 10, that is E, that is 10, raised to the power of 3. 1 into 10 raised to the power of 3. I repeat, 1, E means multiplied by 10, the E means 10, sorry, and after E3 means 10 raised to the power of 3. So now let's calculate. Let's work out what is 10 raised to 3. 10 raised to 3 means 10 cubed, that is 10 into 10 into 10. Can you tell me how much is 10 into 10 into 10? Please send me your answer. Each of you should send me the answer in the chat box. I'm expecting an answer from each of you. 10 into 10 is 100 and 100 into 10 is 1000. So 10 cube means, so this means 1 into 1000 and 1 into 1000 is 1000. So that's what I've shared with you. 1E3 means, okay, 1E3, the value in scientific format is 1000 in floating point format, and I hope you understood how it works out. Whatever value you have written before E, that value multiplied by E means 10, and after E, whatever value is written, it means 10 raised to the power of that value. Now, why should we write values in this manner? Let me tell you, in engineering applications, for engineering tasks or mathematical tasks where you want to write very huge numbers, this method is the preferred method. It is scientific format. Yes, I'm writing a number for you. I'm writing an example for you. 5E38. 5E38. Now, before we understand what does this mean, what kind of number it is, I'd just like to draw your attention to the earlier example. 1E3 means 1 into 10 raised to 3. Now just look at 10 raised to 3. 10 raised to 3, as you know, is 10 into 10 into 10. which works out to 1000. So please see 10 raised to 3 is 1000, and 1000 has the digit 1 and after that 3 zeros. Okay, 10 raised to 3 is 1 with 3 zeros after it. Now let us understand what is this 5e38. Means what value? 5 into 10 raised to the power of 38. Ten raised to the power of 38. So now let's understand 5 into, we'll be multiplying the value that we're going to write by 5. Now can you imagine what is 10 raised to 38? Just look at this. 10 raised to 3 is 1 and 3 zeros. So can you tell me 10 raised to 38 would be 1 and after that zeros, how many please? How many zeros? 38 zeros. I repeat, see 10 raised to 3 is 1 and after that 3 zeros. So 10 raised to 38 is 1 and after that 38 zeros. Okay. So can you tell me the number of digits which this number will have altogether? How many digits? Okay, counting the 1 and the zeros. Total how many digits? Please tell me how big that number would be. I'm waiting for the answer. 1 and after that how many zeros altogether? How many digits? 39 digits. Okay, 38 zeros will be there and before that 1. So altogether that the number is 39 digits and that also multiplied by 5. So such a huge number. Okay, you can imagine such a huge number. If you were to write it in floating point format, it would be quite a tedious task to do. And here, as you see in scientific format, it is so easy to write that number. So you, in case of 10 raised to 38, the value would be 1 and after that zeros. How many of them? Just write written for reference 38 zeros. So counting the 1 and the 38 zeros, that would be, that value would be of 39 digits and again that further multiplied by 5. Now why are we speaking about scientific format? We are speaking about scientific format because in our Java program, we can even write numbers in this format. Yes, we can write numbers, floating point numbers in this format, and that's what I'm doing. I'm adding one line in our program and I'm writing 1E3 over there. So this is scientific format or scientific notation. I'm sharing one more example with you, 5E38. So during practicals, now remember when you're practicing, all these values which I've written in the comment, you can, I'm expecting you to put them in the brackets and see the output. Compile the program, run the program and see the output. So now we have added this statement, compiling the program. Please see I'm not getting any errors. And like to see the output. So right click on your program and select void main. That means you want to execute the void main function. And please see the output. 1E3 is giving me the value 1000. Now these values are floating point values, so that's why I'm getting the output as 1000.0. These were not integer values. Values written in scientific format are floating point values. I hope I made myself clear, please. Let me make one more change in our program. double click on it. I'll just shift this null literal. I'm just selecting that text. Okay, cut it, and I intend to put it before Boolean. The reason is, since it is at the end, we don't come to know whether it is being displayed, though it is being displayed, but saving, compiling my program, and now let us see the output. So you'll actually get a blank line, okay, before the Boolean value. That gives us a proper understanding that there's a null value on that particular line. This text that I've typed about this explanation, which I've shared with you over a scientific format, okay, I'll be sharing it with you. Just let me add a statement. Huge numbers can be easily written in scientific format. Floating point values can also be written in a Java program in scientific format. I repeat, floating point values can also be written in a Java program in scientific format. Yes, that means you can write the value like this, 1000, or if you want, you can write it in scientific format. So I'll be sharing this bit of explanation on scientific formats with you. Do you have any doubts on this before we go further, please? We almost completed our discussion on literals. Any doubts? Just give me a moment, friends. Now, friends, I was just wondering whether I start with you the next topic, that is identifiers. No, we'll start with the topic for identifiers in the next session. But with the given time that we have, I would like to teach you the concept of arithmetic operators. I would like to share arithmetic operators with you. And as such, we have learned about integers and floating point values today. So it makes sense that we discuss a little bit about, as much time that we have, we discuss about arithmetic operators. So I'm closing this program, and I would like to start a new program, a new class. Okay, we're giving a name to the class as arithmetic operators. I call it arithmetic operators, OPS, or operators. Now, often let me tell you, when you're giving a name to your class, to your program, in this manner, where it, arithmetic operators are two words, I would suggest that you put an underscore symbol. That means you give, you separate the two words with the underscore symbol. That is, give the name to the class as arithmetic underscore operators. This is my suggestion. The very next topic that we're going to do in the next session is identifiers. That's where we're going to understand why I suggested this underscore to you. Ensure that the class option is selected over here and click on OK. So we got another class over here, arithmetic operators. Double click on it. This is our program that we are making. Select all these lines, Control A, press the delete key. Public class, arithmetic operators. Within the class, we are defining a function, public static void main. With string arguments. Open curly braces for the main function. System.out.println 10 plus 5, that's the arithmetic operator plus addition for addition. System.output.println, we are writing 10 minus 5, that is subtraction operator. 10 plus 5 is 15, 10 minus 5 is 5. 10 asterisk 5, that is a multiplication operator. This symbol is also called as asterisk. I'm writing 10 divided by 5. This symbol is for division. Okay, this symbol is the division symbol. There is one more operator, but I'll reserve that for discussion in the next session. So 10 plus 5, 15, 10 minus 5, 5, 10 multiplied by 5, 50, 10 divided by 5, 2. Close curly braces for the main function and for the class, another one. The small program we have written to introduce you to arithmetic operators plus minus.